Hello, everyone out there on YouTube. This is Jordan White. You may recognize me as the person who was the ninth in line for Nintendo 3DS at Union Square when it launched in America, and you probably more well know me as the guy who founded and organizes the StreetPass NYC meetup groups, which have been fantastic. We have over 400 members, gone beyond, way beyond my wildest dreams, and if you're in New York, definitely check that out because it's just amazing, and everyone makes it amazing. So I've always wanted to do a video series, and quickly before I go into that, one, even though I am the founder of StreetPass NYC, these are my personal views I'm going to say in this video, so they do not reflect StreetPass NYC as an organization at all. And I also apologize for the crappy webcam quality because I'm doing this way late at night, and tomorrow I have a wisdom tooth that gets pulled out of my mouth, so I'll be non-talking for about 3 to 4 days. So I need to do this video now, hence the rush and the quality, but I thought this would be very important. I want to do a video series where I get to talk about a lot of very important things in gaming, both in the developer side and the consumer side for a while. And I thought, what better way to start off than with Operation Rainfall? Now, Operation Rainfall has been phenomenal because I think it's like the biggest gaming consumer thing that's happened ever. Like, I think whether this succeeds or fails, it's going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records for this being like the biggest fan activist thing ever done in video games. And I'm amazed as much success as it has. It's all because of every single gamer who's been really pushing this. So I congratulate you all. Um, However, I feel that between all the IGN articles and the bitching on NeoGAF and overweight guys in sunglasses wearing leather jackets trying to get more hits on their blog and their Escapist magazine video series, that we've kind of lost focus on Operation Rainfall, and I really want to see it succeed. And so, as someone who's been in the video game industry for a while and happens to work with and know a lot of people who are from Nintendo, a little bit proof there. I thought I'd give a piece of advice and kind of re-steer Operation Rainfall and maybe come up with a resolution that might work. Um, the big flaw I see in Operation Rainfall is that right now, after Nintendo's major response, which was a huge blow to the operation, everyone's bitching about Nintendo of America sucks and Reggie sucks and how could they be so stupid? Why is the American vision so out of touch? Blah blah blah. And what shocks me as someone who's known Nintendo for a while and has been in the video game business for a while, that people think that Nintendo of America actually has any real say in the business operations of the overall Nintendo corporate structure. Um, uh, they basically don't. That's the truth. Nintendo of America has almost no say. Basically, the way everything works with Nintendo of America is Nintendo of Japan says, we have this game, we want it to come out in America, make it sell. And so Nintendo of America primarily translates, maybe fixes some bugs, maybe, but mainly translates, packages, and markets these games for America. That's what they do. That's pretty much all they do. And so you might think, well, why isn't Nintendo of Europe like that? Why isn't Nintendo of Australia like that? Well, the unfortunate truth there too is that Nintendo doesn't really care about the European and the Australian markets. It sucks because they're amazing, you know, amazing, countries within their continents that have their own unique flavor and they're amazing gamers there. But they don't really care about the market. The sales and stuff that comes from that market does not show up as a blip anywhere with their shareholders, with their stock prices, with their NDA data, all that. So a lot of times you'll see in Europe these like weird obscure games like Goshen the Giant will be released over there, and Nintendo of Europe has the more leeway to do that because Nintendo doesn't care. Basically, view Nintendo of Europe as like the middle child. Uh, doesn't care, not the most important in the beginning, not important in the end. So they just let them do whatever the hell it wants. Nintendo of America, on the other hand, and America's been a big feather in Nintendo's hat, big crown jewel ever since the NES era. And because the Japanese market is shrinking and the American market is rapidly expanding, it's even more important now, America, the market, than it was back then. So basically, Nintendo of America is like this giant English-speaking puppet for Nintendo of Japan. So I'm sure there's actually a lot of people in Nintendo of America I've never asked. I'm sure there's a lot who actually do want to see Xenoblade and Last Story brought over to the United States, but they can't do anything. And bitching to them will not work because they can't do anything because they're just a puppet. They don't make any real decisions. Nintendo of Japan does. So the overall thing that I want to express in this video is that if you want Operation Rainfall to succeed, pressure Nintendo of America. Keep doing that, but don't. That's not the main target. This is a distraction, Nintendo of America. You want to influence and attack, in quotes, attack Nintendo of Japan. They make all the decisions, like Morpheus and the Matrix. They're guarding all the doors and holding all the keys. They're probably, I would say, 99% chance of the reason why Xenoblade and Last Story is not coming to America. And to quickly sum up of why the heck would they not release this in America, let me quickly go over this major problem in America, in Japan, and the Japanese market, which is that it's shrinking. None of the games are making Call of Duty money or EA or Activision money when they used to. It's like rapidly declining. Even Final Fantasy is not making and not as doing well as it used to. Besides like first party Nintendo games. And so the sentiment there is that Japanese are looking at their games, looking at the American and Western games, are going, where did we go wrong? And the problem is that Japanese are very like visual and aesthetic people. So they think it's partly true, but it's not the main reason, and that's the sad part. That the reason why their games aren't selling is because they're spiky haired characters with giant boobs and hi, bad voice acting of we can do this and I hit you, you hit me, magic potions, little weird Japaneseisms. It's like so Japanese. And that Americans like bald space marines where you shoot a gun that has a gun that shoots testicles at Nazi alien demons from hell, from space. And that's what they think American games are. So they're going to cut back on Japanese-y like games and instead reinvent them for the American market. Just put bald space marines in Final Fantasy, or farm them out to like a Western developer, no matter how terrible they are, like with Ninja Theory and DMC, in the attempt to try to get the Western market because they think the aesthetics is the problem. So Nintendo of Japan is not immune to this. So they're afraid that they're releasing Blade and Last Story, they're going to bomb. That's going to affect their bottom line. They think it's going to bomb because, and it's true, they're very Japanese games. The sad thing is that I believe the real problem that we need to express to America Japan is that, and the rest of Japanese developers, it's not the aesthetics. It's that, while I do think American games are in just of a rut, American games do change over time. They're like forced to try to progress, or else after 2 or 3 games they absolutely fail. Because the Japanese people kind of want the same thing over and over again, and they really want to please their fans, they rarely change any of their genres to update to anything. There's no evolution. And that's why we have a stigma of Japanese games, that they're just the same game you play in Super Nintendo, just prettier, and we don't want that anymore. That's what even makes this more sad that Xenoblade and Last Story are not coming over, because there actually are evolutions of the Japanese RPG. Xenoblade is like basically if Tales of Symphonia and Oblivion had a baby, and Last Story, in my personal opinion, as I told Miss Walker last year, was the RPG next to Dark Souls. To me, that was what Final Fantasy 13 should have been. And so it's even more tragic that they're innovators in their own genre, and they're not coming over. So overall, before this video ends, once again, pressure Nintendo of Japan. There are people in Japan, there are people who work for Nintendo in Japan. If we find them, we can definitely try to push in. And even if we fail, it might be another Capcom save file thing where they might not ever do this again because they don't want to put up through it. I mean, there's many different ways. The easiest one is to find out who all their shareholders are and like pitch to them. Like, I think our best option is to make a HD Wii U collection that they could sell for cheap, along with like other collections like the Mario Galaxy Collection HD for Wii U. We could get it that way and show that, basically Nintendo could be making money, Nintendo Japan could be making money, but they aren't and are leaving everything in drought, and that makes consumer opinion go down the hill. And then at their next shareholder meeting in Japan, they'll talk to Nintendo about it. Nintendo might panic and then reconsider, even if it's not for those games, if there's a situation in the future, to not do what they just did. So overall, I say, let's target Nintendo of Japan. Let's keep pressuring Nintendo of America, but let's target Nintendo of Japan. They're the source. They're the head. You can't just pull the weed out. You have to get the root. And keep going with Operation Rainfall, and let's hope it's a success. If not, at least we tried. Anyway, this has been Jordan White. I hope this has enlightened you all. Keep up the good fight. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Peace.